Hi friends, I am Danny and welcome back to my channel. Since I'm pretty new here, chances are you're new here too. So on this channel, I help busy moms like myself reduce anxiety, create a softer, more intentional life. So if that is something that sounds interesting to you, please subscribe and stick around for this video because I do have a really juicy video for you today. Hi. Okay. So today we are talking about something that has honestly changed the way I experience life and motherhood. And we are talking about feminine energy. Because if you've spent any time online looking at feminine energy content, you have probably seen flowy dresses, lavish vacations, very slow mornings, elaborate skincare routines, candles, massages, and so on. And listen, sure, I love all of that. I do, but not all of us have time for it. Give me the candle, give me the cute pajamas, give me the body scrub, give it all to me, give it all. But let's be real for a moment. We don't all have time for it. A lot of times I watch this content and I think, oh, that's all really great, but you don't have children. Where are the children? Because my morning isn't always just a matcha latte and journaling and sun shining through the window and doing yoga poses. Some of us have actual real lives. Sometimes somebody can't find their shoes. Sometimes the lunch needs to be packed. We're trying to get to baseball. The dogs are barking. And sometimes there are about 47 things that I need to remember before 9 a.m. And I think that a lot of women see this beautiful, soft life and this feminine energy and they think, oh, that's all well and great, but that's not for me. That's not my life. It's just not realistic. And I completely disagree. I actually think that moms need these practices more than anybody else. Because when I'm talking about feminine energy, I'm not talking about an aesthetic. I am talking about the way that we live our life. I'm talking about how I experience my life and how I look at things. So today I am going to show you 7 shifts that I have made in my life that have taken me out of the doing mode and back into my feminine energy, which has reduced anxiety greatly. It's helped me reconnect with my body, feel more peaceful, more playful, and just overall a happier person. I feel present and feminine even smack dab in the middle of motherhood. So what do I actually mean by feminine energy? So what do I actually mean by feminine energy? Before we get into the 7 shifts, we need to understand what exactly I'm talking about. Because feminine and masculine energy can become very convoluted online. I'm using these terms as a personal development framework and not as a scientific fact. And we're definitely not saying men are only masculine and women are only feminine. That is not the case at all. We all have a healthy balance of both. But typically, a man would have a higher percentage of masculine energy and women have a higher percentage of feminine energy. But we all need both to balance out life. When I say masculine energy, I'm talking about the part associated with structure, planning, analysis, discipline, problem solving, decision making, execution, getting things done. And when I'm talking about feminine energy, I am talking about the body. Presence, embodiment, playfulness, creativity, receptivity, intuition. Another simple way to think about it is masculine energy is associated with things in our head and feminine energy is associated with the body and movement and flowing. So any kind of thought process or structure that requires thinking and planning or anxiety, that's all going to be your masculine energy. And masculine energy is not all bad. We all need masculine energy, even as women. I actually love that part of myself. She is the reason things get done. She is the reason appointments get scheduled. She's the reason we get to practice on time. She's the reason the laundry eventually gets washed. She is the reason I can effectively run a household and accomplish things. I need her. The problem is not masculine energy. The problem lies when you spend your entire life inside of it. Think about how much masculine energy motherhood requires. We are constantly thinking. We're planning. What time do I need to leave? What time do we need to eat? What do I need to pack? What's for dinner? Did I respond to that email? Did I wash his uniform? Do we have baseball tonight? Do we have karate tonight? What are we doing this weekend? Did I schedule that appointment? Do we have enough groceries? And somehow it's only 8:37 in the morning. We are always anticipating, planning, remembering, solving, and managing. And I realized something a couple years ago. I wasn't really experiencing motherhood. I was just managing it. My body was sitting next to my son, but my brain was mentally in 12 other places. And I don't want to look back someday and realize I spent his entire childhood with my head off into the clouds, thinking about other things. I wanted to actually experience my life. So there are 3 main reasons why connecting with my feminine energy became so incredibly important to me. Number 1, it helps me create more calm. I've had seasons of my life where my nervous system was constantly on high alert, and I do talk about that in other videos. So now I am incredibly protective of my peace. When I'm rushing, thinking, reacting all day long, I can feel the difference in my body. My shoulders tighten, my jaw tightens, my thoughts speed up. Every little thing starts feeling urgent. So these little practices give me opportunities to interact that pattern. The second reason why it matters is because it makes me more present. I am obsessed with coffee, and I actually want to taste my coffee in the morning. I actually want to hear the song playing in the car. I want to notice my son when he's telling a story and be present for it. I want to laugh with my husband. I don't want every beautiful moment in life to become background noise because in my head, I'm writing the to-do list for tomorrow. That brings us right into the third reason why it matters. And it matters because it affects how I show up at home. As you probably know, when you're calmer, you're more playful, you're patient, you're slower to react, you're more affectionate, and you're more available. And that doesn't mean we're never allowed to be angry, frustrated, or overwhelmed. We're all human. But I have personally noticed when I change the way I move through my day, I change the way I experience my home. Today, we are only here to learn, so please do not take feminine energy and turn it into something that you need to be perfect at. Because I can already imagine an overwhelmed mom watching this going, great, yeah, no, this isn't for me. It is. Stick around. You're gonna rush sometimes. You're gonna lose your patience. You're gonna have days where you're in problem-solving mode from the moment you wake up to the moment your head hits the pillow. And maybe that continues for 3 days. That is normal. That is okay. We are just here to make small shifts. We're making shifts where we can, guys. The goal is not, how can I be in my feminine energy for 24 hours a day? No. The goal is, where can I make changes in my life where I can slow down a little bit and start reconnecting with my feminine? Where can I make those shifts? And I'm gonna tell you how. So I'm gonna go over 7 things that have helped me personally tap into my feminine, and I hope you can take a little bit away from this and make changes where you can. Step 1 is pretty simple, and this is to stop overstimulating yourself for the sake of your kids. Now, what do I mean by this? It sounds ridiculously simple, but what I did was I stopped playing children's music in my car. I did it for a long time, and I got to a point where the music was stressing me out. So personally, I introduced my son to music that I like, and it turns out that he loves it. And now when we jam out in the car, we're rocking out together, and I'm not stressed, he's not stressed. Everybody is happy because nobody is getting irritated with music. It is such a small shift, and maybe some of you don't agree. That's fine. But for me, it was a huge change in my energy, making this small shift. Now, when we're in the car, I'm singing, I'm dancing, my son's singing, he's dancing, husband's singing, dancing, we're all happy. Guess what? None of us are stressing out because music just makes you happy. But there's really a bigger lesson with this one, because motherhood doesn't always have to be about sacrifices. Sure, there's a lot of sacrifices. So why don't we take the moments where we can still keep a little piece of ourselves and not have to sacrifice ourselves completely? Your entire environment doesn't have to be child-centered just because you have a child. We already know that it's going to happen for the majority of the time. So let's take those small doses where we can and keep those pieces of ourselves. Because when I'm putting on the music that I like, I'm jamming out. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm not analyzing anything. I'm not planning anything. I'm experiencing something. And I feel like I could take these moments and look back at them later on in life and really appreciate the fact that my son and I had this bond where we listened to the same music. Another shift that I've made is I've really become conscious with the things that come out of my mouth. I do not speak negatively about other moms. I do not gossip, and I do not stay in circles where people are complaining or speaking negatively about anything. It can be so easy to fall into a trap with mom friends where everyone is talking negatively about their husband or their children or a family member. And I think it can be really easy to fall into that trap. But remember, it is a trap. Maybe they're complaining about school or their bodies or work or the environment or politics or whatever it is. And that kind of negative energy will seep into your soul and you will carry it with you. At some point I realized, okay, I cannot speak negatively with people and then wonder why my life feels heavy all the time. If something is wrong, obviously talk about it, but have your chosen few people that you do that with. If something is going on between you and your partner, that should stay between you and your partner, because that is a sacred bond that should never be broken, and the trust there should never be broken between the two of you. Because what happens when you start speaking negatively about your partner, especially to other friends or to groups of friends, those people are now going to see you in a different light and your partner in a different light. And even if they can't help themselves, they are going to judge. And you do not want people knowing your dirty laundry, knowing your secrets, and then having the ability to use that against you in the future. This all goes hand in hand with watching what comes out of your mouth. Also, there is a big difference between being able to process difficult things and letting difficult things become your entire identity and having complaining being your entire identity. I can think of a few people in my life where every single time I see them, I already know how their day is going. I already know exactly what they're gonna say. Everything is gonna be a complaint, a negative comment, and I feel like I have to protect my peace by creating really hard boundaries with these people, because I start feeling negative energy the more that they complain and talk. And so we really need to protect our peace and protect what comes out of our mouth, and also protect who we're hanging around. If we're hanging around negative people that are always complaining and talking negatively and bashing on other women, you are going to become that. And that is just how it goes. You're going to be seen as that kind of person. Even if you don't believe what they're saying, you are an accomplice if you are hanging out with people who speak negatively. So yeah, the whole point here is to watch what comes out of your mouth, and also watch who you're keeping company with, because it will affect your energy, it will affect your anxiety level, and it will pull you deeper into your masculine energy to speak negatively and to have these negative emotions all the time. We don't want irritation to become our default state. And I don't want my conversations to constantly pull me back into what's wrong, because that means I'm living in the past. I'm living in moments that have already happened. They're gone, they're done. Let's forward think. Let's think into the future. Let's focus on the positive. I want to fill my day with gratitude, and I want to find positivity wherever I can, because the more I soak up gratitude, the more positive thinking I become, the better my day gets, really. It doesn't matter if something bad happens to me, I can brush it off. It doesn't mean that it doesn't affect me, but it affects the way that I react and respond. And I think that's the most important part. Step number 3 is to bring playfulness back into your relationship. This is a huge one. Okay, but Danny, how do we do this? I'm busy. I've got a million things going on. Sometimes I just don't want to be playful. Let me tell you how. When your man comes home from work, do not immediately unload your day onto him. He is tired. You are also tired. You've both had a day. Give each other the space. Give each other the space to unwind, to have your moment and to have his moment, and talk about the hard, important things maybe in 20-30 minutes, but allow him his space and try to flirt, try to joke, try to be playful. Ask him how his day was. And if it was stressful, ask him, how can I help you? It's so easy to become two exhausted coworkers just sharing the same space and parenting the same children. So we really want to pull ourselves out of that and try to find ways to reconnect with each other. Plan dates. What my husband and I did was we started taking 1 month each. We would each be assigned a month, and within that month, we would have to plan a date and set up childcare. And that seemed to work really well for us. It's only once a month. It's not every single weekend, but it was what we could do, and it was what we could manage. You really have to find a way to keep those playful moments however you can. Within a relationship, you want to have chemistry. You want to have that polarity, that feminine energy and that masculine energy coming together. You want that chemistry. You want that polarity. You want that push and that pull, that give and that take. It's so incredibly important to have. You want playfulness. You want your man to look at you like you're their woman, not just the person who reminds them to take out the trash. And in order to do that, you need to look at them the same way. Playfulness requires you to be present. It's really hard to flirt while you're mentally making tomorrow's schedule. So work on being present. The next shift is probably one of the easiest ones. Sorry, I am petting my dog. He is right here. He wants to come up. This next shift is really to make mundane self-care feel good. You do not need a 12-step skincare routine. You don't need a facial. You don't need a massage every day. You don't need a 2-hour night routine. But you are taking a shower, so make your shower nice. Get yourself some nice luxurious body scrub. Get yourself some really nice smelling soap. Make yourself smell really good. Buy a body scrub that smells incredible so that you feel incredible when you get out of the shower. And also buy yourself some cute pajamas. No more Adam Sandler stuff. Let's start looking good when we go to sleep, because that will pull us into our feminine energy and it'll release a lot of that tension before you go to sleep. There is just something about having really cute, beautiful pajamas that makes me feel really good and playful when I get into bed. Have a skincare routine, but don't make it incredibly complicated. We don't have a whole lot of time as parents, but we can still take some time for ourselves. I have about 3 or 4 steps that I do at night. It's very simple, but it's something that makes me feel good every single night. It's something that I know I'm doing for myself, even if it doesn't take too much time. It's still something that makes me feel good. We can't just throw on some yucky pajamas and hop into bed without taking care of ourselves and go, "Ugh, I was just too busy, but I took care of everyone else." That's not okay, because we really can't take good care of others if we're not taking good care of ourselves. You shouldn't help somebody put their mask on a plane unless you've put your own mask on first. That's a really morbid example, but I always think of that for some reason. The goal here is to have a normal Tuesday night feel good. You're experiencing the moment. Tip number 5 is pretty easy, but it's something that we all fail at, and that is to stop rushing through your own life. And I really mean it. Give yourself extra time. Give yourself extra time in the morning. Give yourself extra time before a hockey practice or whatever it is that you need to take your children to. Give yourself extra time. Personally, what I do is I get up super early in the morning. I get all the things that I need to do for myself done, because that's what makes me feel good and accomplished. I get my workout in, I get my walk in, I give myself ample time to get my son ready for wherever we need to go or whatever we're doing with the family for the day. I get everything done in the morning so that when it's time to leave, I'm not rushing and scrambling around, because the moment we start rushing, we start getting that anxiety and we start getting in our head and we start getting in our masculine energy. And then we are super stressed out, and then we're yelling at the husband, and then we're yelling at the kids, and everything's a hot mess. And then you get to what you get to your destination and your day's already crap. Where can we make those changes so that our day is good? Well, that starts with time management, especially in the morning. Get yourself ready early, get your things done early. If you have to leave the house by 10 a.m. in your brain, tell yourself you're leaving at 9. You are leaving at 9. Stick with that mentality every single day. I promise you, your day will feel so much easier if you are not rushing and being late at literally everything. Same thing goes for your own appointments, a doctor's appointment, whatever it is. Give yourself extra time to get through the traffic, the red lights. Overestimate the amount of time it's gonna get there. I love getting somewhere a half hour early and being able to calmly find a parking spot without having to rush or get angry at all the people taking up the good spots. I can take my time finding a parking spot. I can walk freely to my appointment. I can sit down in the waiting room. I can check in without having sweat pouring down my body because I've been running because I'm late. There's something so incredibly freeing about being early to places. So that's another thing that I would highly suggest if you're trying to get out of that anxiety mode and more into your feminine energy. That is a really big shift that you can make. That way we're moving with intention instead of urgency. That's really what it comes down to. Second to last point is stop giving every little thing all of your energy. Someone cuts you off, your kid spills something, the house is messy, you forgot something doesn't go according to plan. Not everything deserves the same emotional response, and this has really been a huge lesson for me. When I feel irritation bubbling up at something, I will stop and ask myself, does this thing really deserve my energy? Do I actually want to give this my energy? Because a lot of times the answer is no. And that doesn't mean I'm suppressing my emotions. It just means that I have emotional awareness and emotional intelligence, and I have that capacity to turn it on and off. I have the emotional awareness to realize that I have the choice, that I get to choose how far I want to follow this feeling. And I just continue with my day. Because feminine energy is not just all glamour. A lot of times it looks like, I'm not letting this ruin my afternoon. Okay, someone cut me off. Let me give him some space. Let me keep driving. Let me continue on with my day. Because is it really worth getting angry if somebody cuts you off on the road? Yeah, maybe they put your safety in danger for a second. But if you're able to maneuver and handle it with ease and you're able to back off, that's it. We do not have to let it take over our entire body. And I see it so much in today's society because we are so wound up as women and we're so much in our masculine energy that a lot of times we just explode. So we need to work on containing those little explosions and working on managing our emotions. And again, that is not suppressing emotions. We are not suppressing any emotions. We're women, we're emotional. That should always flow. But we can work on how we respond and how we react to things within our control so that we don't let it take over our entire day. This last shift is controversial, and I am going to say it anyway because this was a really big one for me and it might be a big one for you. So I'm just gonna say it. You don't have to listen to me, but what I did to really change my life and what really helped me get out of my anxiety and to tap into my feminine energy was I left a toxic career. And it was a huge decision to make. It was a decision that I thought about for over a year, and it was something very scary to me because it had taken me so long to get to that career. But when I was finally in it, I noticed that the entire career was toxic and it was no longer serving me. It was no longer serving my family. I was working 8 to 16-hour shifts, a lot of 16-hour shifts, and I was constantly overwhelmed. I was constantly miserable. When I came home, I would be horrible. I would just be a terrible person. I saw the worst things that I could ever see in life, and I knew that in order to live a healthy, calm life, I needed to leave. And some of you might be thinking, oh, well, I love my job. That's great. If you are perfectly happy in your career and you love being a working woman, I would say 100% stay there. Do whatever makes you happy. But if you have been miserable and if you have been suffering in a career for the sake of money, this might be your sign to make a change. What I did was I talked it over with my husband. I said, hey, actually, this job sucks and I really need to make a change because I can't function anymore. And he saw it in me and he agreed that it would be a good idea. But we do live in Southern California and we do need 2 incomes. So we were like, all right, well, how are we going to make this work? Well, I prayed to God and I asked God for a sign and God brought me a sign. And I was offered a job, one of my dream jobs, within, I would say, a couple weeks of putting it out there into the universe that I needed a new job. Because once you put it out there, things start coming to you. If you're not thinking about it and you're just being miserable, the universe is not going to answer you. And you might think, ooh, that's really woo-woo. Yeah, no, I don't believe in that. The universe is a very powerful thing. Just like how negative emotions can make people sick because of the lower frequency emotions or something like that. Just how negative emotions can make people sick, positive emotions also have the same capacity. So you think about positive emotions, forward thinking, gratitude, being thankful for what you have, but also being thankful for your future job and telling the universe, I'm so grateful for what I have, and I'm so grateful for the things that you are going to bring me, the things that I am asking for you. It is amazing how powerful those wavelengths are. If you don't believe me, there's a really great book that Joe Dispenza writes. I will link it down below. I highly recommend it because it is absolutely life-changing. For me, I just noticed that it wasn't right anymore for me to stay, and it wasn't good for my health. And my husband and I really wanted to start a family, and the stress of it all was just, it was not working out for us. And it's incredible because the moment I left my job and I started this new job from home with better hours, better flexibility, they were more family oriented, I got pregnant almost instantly. It was amazing. Sometimes all you need is that little shift. So really ask yourself, what is the biggest thing in your life that is causing you the most stress and the most anxiety? And if it's your job, I would say nothing in life is worth the money if it is making you miserable. We are just souls having a human experience, and I really believe that. And you don't want to look back at your life when you're 80 years old and think, wow, I had a long life, but I was miserable the entire time and I worked until I was 70 and, but I made a lot of money. Where were your life experiences? Where were your vacations? Where were your calm moments in your free time? I want to be able to look back on my life one day and be like, that was a good life. Here are all the memories I had. Here are the experiences I shared with my children and the experiences I had with my husband. I really firmly believe that that is the answer to life. So again, for me, I left the job and I did what was best for me. And again, this might be your sign to do the same. So if you're a busy mom watching this, you might be thinking, okay, this is all great, but where do I actually start? Well, you start by making one small change. Maybe it's changing the music in your car. Maybe it's buying some cute pajamas or some really good smelling soap. Maybe it's just starting the thought process of working on being more intentional with your thoughts, with your words, with how you speak to other women and how you speak about others. Maybe it's just having that knowing in the back of your mind that you may need to make some changes here and there. Learn to appreciate your partner and to laugh with them and to dance with them, even if it feels a little out of touch and a little awkward. Do it anyways. Let the spilled drink be a spilled drink instead of an emotional event. Create little opportunities throughout your day where you're not just managing your day or your life, but you're actually experiencing it. And it might just be in the small moments where you wake up in the morning and you look at the sky and you hear the birds chirping and you think, this is a beautiful morning. No matter what happens today, this is a beautiful morning because I woke up. It could really be that simple. But where can you find the peace in your life? You don't have to live in your feminine energy every single day or for the majority of the day, but it is important to find it and to bring that balance back, especially if you want to get out of anxious mode. You need discipline, you need planning, but again, where can we find that balance? It's not about choosing one or the other, but it's really just about understanding where you can let go a little bit and release a little bit of control, and where you can flow into your body a little bit more and trust your intuition a little bit better and trust for things to happen instead of always having control over everything. Maybe we just let go a little bit. And as you become more connected with yourself, start paying attention to the bigger things too. Start paying attention to the bigger things that might need to change. Feminine energy isn't always about adding things to your life. Sometimes it's about cutting the things out that aren't working anymore because it's not good for your body. It's to come back to the woman you've always been underneath all of the stress. And that's really the most important thing. So if this resonated with you, tell me in the comments which one of these 7 things you feel like you could change, or maybe it's something completely different. I would love to know. Again, my name is Danny, and if you like these videos, please like and subscribe. It would really help me out a ton. Thanks again.